Hello and most welcome to 818. Sorry I'm wearing a cap, but it's quite chilly in here. I'm trying to warm the whole place up. Also trying to get rid of some moisture that is bothersome. I will continue today where I started previously and try to get a little more into this idea of what is binarity. That seemed to be the zest of the problem here, and might be better exposed by a drawing of a sword. I will try to focus on what is the feeling of this division, and this is this jagged line I've been writing here, drawing, to show that there is an energy expenditure and we have a time lag, so we need within ourselves sort of acquire the knowledge what is reality and what is our thinking or imagination, the representation. There is a space difference, there is a distance. So the objects we have around us, the thing that we are acting on, are always a bit after in our perception. It takes time for the light to get to us until we really understand. And that makes for a cleavage between reality and our perception of it. Once more, there's a lot of friction. This takes time. This is cumbersome. It's not smooth. It's tension filled. And this is the tension we feel all through our bodies. It's always accompanied with tension in the body. And that tension is, before everything else, in the dorsal regions. Whereas in the ventral region we have a flaccidity. It's too lax. We want to sit down, we want to half lie down. This is all signs that something is gravely not well. It's like the body is just a burden to be relieved on, and it feels cozy to half lie down or lie completely down, collapsed in a sofa. And I'm not criticizing how good it feels. I would say it doesn't feel good. We're just accustomed to it. Remember the rats who were tricked to imbibe something nausea just because a habit was involved. So we know from neurology, we don't know what the effects have on us. We seek the bad things, we don't seek the better things. We are not happy in our bodies when we want to lie down. There is zero energy spent in a balanced person while standing up or sitting in a balanced way. Zero. No laying down, no sitting in a sofa can beat that zero. That is the maximum comfort level we can have. And I would say today we very seldom has that. I would even say there are very few people who sometimes has it, but most people never experience it. They did in their younger years when they were really little, when they were youngsters. probably before adolescence. And then they lost comfort, and for having a lack, they seek to complement that lack with different add-ons. And it could be drugs, could be food, could also be collapsed in a sofa and similar things. Because they think it's strenuous to be alive. They think the body should be heavy, dense, energy consuming, horrible and awkward, better put into lucid clothing, not to be shown somewhere. There is a paradox. By accepting that paradox, we make the division stronger, the division that never was. I'm going into the other room here. It's too chilly in here. This struggle is constant. We feel an obligation or a need to be correct to sift through our mental contents what is stemming from the outside, the better part, the more objective, so to speak, the golden, the enlightened part of the beloved outside, and take away what is coming from the inside, the lesser part, the tainted, which is a very good word, coming from Rudolf Cachet, of course. We do a cleaning in our inside, and we try to sort of adjust everything to this fantastic outside. One can only imagine how much energy is being spent on this, and that in each and every case, each individual, this is done differently, and it's not even done in the same way within a person consistently. It is always different. And here I think the word of difference, well, I should have the whiteboard once more, but it's way too cold in that room. The difference is always different from itself, and everything differs from itself. So the idea of constantly having to adjust everything to sameness and sort of measure everything in levels of sameness is a torture for the mind, and it makes it impossible to really have a grasp, an understanding of what we have, the presencing, as Heidegger would say it. Real experience, where this division that cannot be made, a division that is actually just body tension, to be crude. This is us tensing ourselves in the dorsal area and being too flaccid in the ventral area. Not enough support to have sufficient balance to be standing on both feet in an equilibrium without having to cling to made up, circumspect, suspect divisions that never ever can find a foundation. One can also compare this to a bumpy road, where there is more bumps than there is roads, than there is road. That road won't take you anywhere. That The bumps will constantly mislead your walk or where you are heading. The bumps make the travel cumbersome and not directed. So the division takes away direction. It takes away being able to anticipate what will come next. And that is in contrast to knowledge informing reality and your body-mind system, so it will be able to act in a way that's appropriate, that serves your purpose, your intention. This is just the opposite. Intention is here gone. Things are not led or lightened by intention. Rather, it's led by something static, frictionful, heavy, dense, chopped up. I hope this can give you some sort of allusion to what it's about. This feeling that you can have on a Monday morning and you don't have any attention at all getting to work. And nothing works on your path. The bus stops midway, you can't find a taxi, and you lose your keys. This is living in the modern life, because made up subjective divisions actually shuts off experience, presencing of reality, and you become this person who's not part of others' joy and living togetherness. You can no longer procure your own goals, your own goal or goals. You cannot live fully happy and having a fulfilled life. Instead, this drags you down. Another thing that I mentioned before, in the end, the outside reality loses its depth. And this is typical, also noted from Ian McGilchrist, with people who are too much into the left hemisphere. Their visual gaze does not contain depth anymore. It is flattened out, and it's literally colorless. So oddly enough, the whole idea of James Locke, that colors are either out there, if you prefer that, or something construed by yourself. If you believe that, you will have less color in your life. They will be less vivid. They will not inform your presencing. It will be, in the end, possibly a black and white picture, or a painting like this one. Absolutely horrific, lacking everything that norms beauty, something that needs to be turned away from the onlooker to rid oneself of this obstruction of reality. There are of course many ways one can go in this path. Ian McGilchrist is very smart when he pinpointed two directions. One is the reductionist philosopher, the one who thinks everything should be defined, puts in pieces, and where he forces weird, unnatural constraints on his movement and his thinking movement. I would say that's the same thing. The thinking movement that is in the cerebellum gets cut off, and it gets alienated from its form. And what reductionism really is not what it says it is. Cutting things up in nice parcels and packages. What it is not working to full good measure. And things are just friction and tension. When you get really, really tired and angry, I would say that is analytical philosophy at its very essence. The opposite is the modern take on postmodernism, and it's I wouldn't even say it's a simplified version of the continental philosophers. I would say it has nothing whatsoever to do with Derrida, Foucault, or Lacan, or Merleau-Ponty. It's just a horrid retreat, capitulation from reality. It's people trying out analytical, reductionist, self-limiting philosophy, some things that need to be taken on pure faith, not on knowledge. And they felt something to be wrong with that. And oddly enough, most postmodernists of this kind I talk to, they actually think that the reductionists found truth, and they don't love truth anymore because it's boring, says the postmodernist. It cannot be further from the truth. None of the reductionists has any concept whatsoever of reality. What they have is a lack of reality, of presencing. And it's this lack that the postmodernists are reacting to. And therefore, they go on the same bumpy road I explained about earlier, with many holes, potholes, and bumps and stones, which is so rocky that it won't take you to your desired destination, because in both varieties, intention is not a thing. There's no intention in the world. And if it were an intention, that would be cut off from reality. Remember last lecture when I said one of the characteristics with what is unreal is that it has the taint of intention, willingness, volition. You want something. And this is the marginalized position in reductionism. And it by default becomes the very same position in postmodernism. None of them finds volition anywhere. It's a complete no-thing. Something that doesn't exist. It's never talked about. It's shoved so way out in the background into this dark subconscious of these people. Never explained to, never pointed to. This is the solution that Gödel should have made. That meaning needs to come into mathematics, needs to be a body, it needs to be an intention to make it real, to make it consistent and coherent. Otherwise that will never ever happen. It's a horrid thought that anything could be coherent and consistent without a body. That is schizophrenia, as Ian McGilchrist so aptly put it in his latest book, The Matter with Things, which I can highly recommend, although it's quite a read. It's massive. And I think I round up. I'm quite tired today here. It's been a trip that started at 3 o'clock in the morning and it ended now 15 hours later. I say thank you very much and have a pleasant evening. See you soon. Bye bye.